It is an ambitious goal to have 20,000 people living in central Christchurch by 2024. And a key plank of that is the first batch of 940 flats and townhouses being built by Fletcher Living in the central city. But after close to 6 months on the market, the first of the upmarket townhouses, priced at between $1 and $1.6 million, are struggling to sell. Conan Young and visual journalist Simon Rogers take a look at whether the former National Government's bold vision runs the risk of turning into a grand folly.
RNZ was keen to take a look inside the mostly unsold Latimer Terraces apartments on the eastern edge of Christchurch's CBD, but was told by Fletcher Living's Steve Evans that they were not available to view.
Well, unfortunately, we've got people going through them, so it's not necessarily the right time to go through that. Equally, what we'd encourage people to do...
It's not that you didn't want us to focus.
Of course not. What we're talking about is different products. What we'd encourage your viewers to do and everyone to do is to come down and have a look.
RNZ understands that after being on the market for close to 6 months, just 3 of the 20 upmarket townhouses have sold. However, Steve Evans would not be drawn on exact numbers.
I won't go into the commercial details of what we've sold. If you'd like to come and buy one, come and see us, is the best way of saying it. We're finding there is a good appetite for some of that product. But interestingly enough, from a product point of view, from a home type point of view, that suits a part of the market.
It's a bit more expensive, isn't it?
Look, it's a different part of the market.
Yeah. One home Mr Evans was keen to show RNZ around was a 3-bedroom townhouse at another Fletcher Living development down the road, known as the Bedford Terraces. This one had an offer made on it a month after it went on the market. Price tag $780,000.
Appliances, a good layout for a 2, 3, 4 person terrace house. It's got a small backyard area, but the reality is you don't need, in inner city living, you don't need lots of your own private space because you've got such great public spaces right out your front door.
And so this place here looks straight on to Rowater Park, and you're sort of straight in. It's quite surreal, really, isn't it? Being in a terrace home, but looking straight into the city there.
And that's the way that city living is meant to be. I mean, if you look at great cities around the world, the way in which the residential responds to the feeling of the city is important. You need to be able to have private space, but you recognise that you're in amongst a city which has a lot of public space and a lot of interactive space, and so that's what you want. When you get upstairs into the bedrooms that we've got upstairs, you've got your privacy, you've got your non-overlooking areas, which is important as well, because people want privacy, but yet they want to be part of the city. That's why they're moving back in here.
Initial sales of the handful of already completed Fletcher Living homes may be slow, but that hasn't put the company off forging ahead with building further terrace houses and apartments. Under an agreement with the government, which is selling it lots of land at commercial rates, the company has 44 apartments and 50 terrace homes under construction in the development RNZ was shown, and another 58 being built as part of another project just a block away. Most developers need to secure a certain number of pre-sales before a bank is willing to lend them money, but not Fletcher Living.
And we're almost unique in that position because we don't need to worry about getting pre-sales to start development. We're backed by Fletcher Building, we own by Fletcher Building, and therefore have the balance sheet to be able to deliver.
Most homes are aimed at the lower to middle part of the market. Apartments range in price from $375,000 for a 1-bedroom flat to $650,000 for a larger one with 2 bedrooms. Steve Evans says it's a case of build it and they will come.
We've always thought that it's going to take time. It takes time for people to understand what city living is about. I mean, we've invested over $1 million to bring in temporary uses into One Central, to bring people back into the city. We feel that's our obligation as good corporate citizens, as good community builders, to look at how do we get people here.
And he's optimistic about the target to get 20,000 people living in the city's CBD by 2024.
I wouldn't say so much it's ambitious, it's visionary. And you don't get to affect change. You don't get to create communities unless you think wider than just the physical nature of a house. So we've spent a lot of time looking at how we do that. We've got a great partner in Otakaro, we've got great dealings with Christchurch City Council, and all of those partners are all focused on a singular goal, which is bringing life back into the city. We'll do our part in the residential side. Hopefully we'll get some more stadiums, hopefully get more development going on in terms of Christchurch, and when we all come back here in 6 years' time, we'll be saying, gee, was it only 20,000 we were trying to get? Because it could be more.
Steve Evans' positive outlook is not shared by the Property Council, which commissioned research last year that found the 2024 target was unrealistic, noting that even central Wellington had less than 20,000 people living there. Christchurch real estate agent Tony Brazier says he's not surprised that apartments at the $1 to $1.5 million price range are taking a while to shift in this part of the city.
There's plenty of townhouses and apartments on the western side of the inner city at that sort of level, but the eastern side has never been proven at that level. People will see that kind of value eventually, but right from the start might be a bit difficult.
Mr Brazier says while the pace at which new CBD restaurants and bars are being built has picked up, there still needs to be more to make it a really attractive place to live.
Well, you've got to ask yourself, why would they be there? They don't all want to be there just for work. If they are, then they want to be able to walk to entertainment, all sorts of things in the inner city that they might have been used to if they lived in London or somewhere like that.
All three of the housing projects that make up Phase 1 of Fletcher Living's East Frame development are now either completed or under construction. It's hoped construction will start on Phase 2 by the start of next year. All eyes will now be on this ambitious development to see if it can deliver on its promise of bringing people back into the heart of Christchurch. Kei o te tahi ahau, mō te hōtaka o te ahi, ko Conanyang tēnei.